evening, everyone, and welcome to The Ball is Round. After a brief hiatus last week, we are back this week to catch up on the World Cup and the Canadian men's national team's performance at said cup. All the CF Montreal departures, including finally Coach Wilfried Nancy, and a very, very monumental and busy week for our women's national team as well. All that and more on episode 112 of The Ball is Round. And I am joined, there he is, by Hady once again this evening. How are you doing, my good sir?
I'm
Feeling
fine.
better?
I'm better. I'm a bit better. I still have COVID, but I'm a lot better. At least I don't have fever anymore. So yeah, can't
That's
complain. Can't complain.
There you go. That's good. You're on the road, and certainly had a lot of news to keep you really busy and entertained this week while you were sick in bed.
Oh man. Oh, crazy week.
Yeah,
Crazy week. But as usual, right? We always have crazy
this
weeks,
is
right?
this is true. I can't remember us ever saying, "Oh, we've had a really boring week" on any of
Yeah,
our
no, it just doesn't
episodes.
happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
Exactly. So I'll tell you what, let's dive in first things first and kind of talk about what we had planned to talk about a little bit last week before we really dive into kind of the more hot topics and current events of our respective teams that we cover. So let's look back, especially now that we've kind of had to reflect on it, on our national team's performance at this World Cup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
So
obviously, go ahead.
it's gonna be fun to look at it now after a few
Hmm.
days have passed. I think
Yeah.
it's a lot better because you're not in the heat of the moment, and you can have a clear conscience. You can have a clear view of whatever you want to say, and maybe colder
Hmm.
analysis, if I might say. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Less
interesting.
emotional.
Exactly.
Exactly. Right. So, when we had last spoken, it was prior to the Morocco match. And of course, following that 2-1 defeat, in which Canada did technically score another goal, but it was an own goal from a Moroccan player. Canada departed Qatar with 2 goals scored. And no points whatsoever from their group stage matches. So I wanted to start us off with a question, and I think maybe Simple Guy had asked us this question last week, and maybe it was in the heat of the moment, but nonetheless, a Simple Guy asked us a question last week regarding Canada's performance in the group. And so the first question from our friend Simple Guy was Canada's game against Belgium more of an indication of Belgium's actual form or Canada's actual form? And he thinks Belgium. Hady, what do you say?
It's a bit of both, in my opinion. It's really a bit of both. Yes, Belgium didn't have a good World Cup, of course, 100%. But I think Canada, for first game in a World Cup in 36 years, first game at that level for such a young, squad, they responded very well. They had the right
Mm-hmm.
attitude. They dominated that game, and it's very important that I say they and underline it. They dominated that game. So
Mm-hmm.
so no, for me, it's a bit of both. We have to take a look and realize that yeah, Canada did do a good, had a good performance against Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also it's not the Belgium that we were looking like. It's
Expecting?
not expecting exactly. It's not the Belgium that we're expecting at all because
Mm-hmm.
Belgium is number two in the world, and they didn't play like a number two in the world. So it's a bit of both, in my opinion. What do you think?
I agree. I would probably lean a little bit more towards it being a case of the Belgian form, just because I think what we saw from the other two matches, it was a lot more representative of what we kind of expected might happen for Canada, except for the part where we said maybe they can draw Morocco, because clearly that was a horrible prediction. But that being said, yeah, I do tend to agree with Simple Guy. Canada kind of went on the downturn, and Belgium, even though they won that match, they just looked worse and worse as the tournament went on. So I do agree with Simple Guy at the end of the day.
Yeah, what a surprise! What a surprise!
Thanks.
Pessimistic Eve,
I
pessimistic
know.
Eve, of course.
I had a few moments of optimism here and there, like recently, but yeah, I was due for a pessimistic moment. So there we go. And I see Robbie here says that Canada had its moments, but we're not really on par with the other teams in the group. And I do agree there with Robbie for sure.
Yeah,
We were
of
definitely,
course,
yeah.
of
And that's
course.
actually
We
going to lead
were
us to
expecting
Simple
that.
Guys. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were
No.
expecting that. We said it here on the Ball is Round. Like, there was two objectives for Canada. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Score a goal, get a point.
Mm-hmm.
You got 50%. You got one of the two objectives, which, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, is okay. You know, it's okay. It's not a good World Cup for Canada, but it's not a bad one
Mm-hmm.
either, because we weren't ridiculous. We didn't lose by 5 every game. And that's something that was plausible. That's something that
Mm-hmm.
could have happened, but it didn't happen, because even the Morocco game, we didn't play bad. Like, the second half, we did very well. So, for me, I'm looking at everything that's being written on social media and everywhere. Some people are really going the very, very, very pessimistic route, saying, "Oh, we're like Qatar." Guys, have you watched the games from Qatar?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like really bad.
No. Well, also Canada
Yeah.
just played Qatar not long ago, and Canada,
Yeah.
beat the pants off Qatar. So yeah.
Exactly,
No. I agree that is hyperbole.
Exactly. So that's the first, the first thing that I'm reading about Canada's performance, and the second thing is people saying, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, we have two semifinalists in the World Cup right now. So yeah, we were in the group of death." No, guys, hey, be careful. Like, we were taught a lesson, and it's time. It's time that we take a look at that lesson and we learn from it, and that we grow from it, and not look at it as, you know what? No, they were too strong either way. We did everything well. No, we didn't do everything well. So optimistic, but with very cautious comments, in my opinion.
Okay. There we go. Fair enough. Sorry, Hady, you were just out of sync for a moment, your video and your audio, so I was just waiting to make sure you were done speaking.
Oh, okay. No worries.
No, but we're good now. We're good on my end. Yep. No, that was my bad. All right. So Simple Guy did hit us with a second question regarding if we were in the group of death, which, Hady, you already went to answer, I do believe.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry about that.
Yep.
I went a bit too far. And that was
no worries.
Simple Guy? No. Yeah.
It was Simple Guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
exactly.
No, for me, it can't be I always interpret the group of death as being like the group where sort of any team could potentially stand a chance. So, like, they have to really fight it out. Like, Canada's group was like the group of no hope. It was like, it's just like that. The realistically was you want pessimistic Eve, you got her. No, it was, the group of it was just, the group of, okay, score a goal, get a point, and like, we're going to consider that quote unquote a success.
A big success. So, if we had a point, that would have been awesome. But you know what? Didn't happen. But now it's time to build on that, and to to become a lot stronger for the next cycle.
Yep, for sure. Agree. So let's talk about, the players who we often talk about. I want to ask you, Hady, who do you think was Canada's most standout player for a good reason and for a bad reason in this tournament?
Woo! Okay, it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. I'm sorry. Okay, I love all the Canadian players, so the person I'm going to choose is just, for me, had not a very good tournament, and for me, it's Milan Borjan. I didn't like his tournament at all. He seemed maybe overwhelmed by the grandeur of that competition. He wasn't as steady as we know him. So for me, it's a tournament to forget for Milan Borjan, and we all know that he shouldn't be here in 2026. But I'm happy that he got the stars, he got the number one, he got the experience because he carried that team for so long. Playing in God knows where in against small teams, or sometimes for a whole year playing 2-3 games only because we didn't have money to go play more games. So no, good job on Milan Borjan, but for me it wasn't his best tournament. Um, for the player that really impressed me most, it's Tejan Buchanan. I think that Tejan was
Mm-hmm.
really, really good. Created so many things, and showed that even if Club Rouge is really doing well in UCL, in the Champions League, I think he showed that he could be a
Yeah,
player for
like
a bigger club. Exactly, and
yeah,
there's a lot of rumors around him now, linking him with
yeah,
bigger clubs. So that's really good. What do you
yeah.
think?
No, really exciting. I think I definitely agree with you for Tejan Buchanan. He didn't unfortunately get anything on the score sheet to give him credit. But I thought that he was really one of the most dangerous players that Canada put out onto the field for sure. As for toughest tournament, obviously, with the final match being the Morocco match where Borjan committed that kind of a fatal error on the first goal, definitely in contention. But I gotta say, Jonathan David was in no man's land out there. And, I get that it's kind of challenging for him because Canada was in a situation where maybe they couldn't necessarily feed him as much as they do when they play CONCACAF opponents. But at the same time, he's always being talked about potentially moving to bigger clubs than Lille. And if you play for those big clubs, you're going to play big time opposition. Um, so for me, I was like, oh, it just felt like he was really lost out there on the pitch the whole tournament.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I didn't choose him
Hmm.
because for me he didn't get service,
Fair
uh,
enough.
and the reason why he didn't get enough service. And yes, the 2-3 times where he got service, yeah, he messed it up. I agree,
Hmm.
but and I think if I want to give an honorable mention for someone that didn't play well during the tournament, it's Alfonso Davies. He did too
Mm.
much. He did too much, and most of the time he lost possession,
Hmm.
and losing possession, and he didn't play fast. He was trying to dribble too many players at the same
Yeah.
time, trying to
Yeah, I
do
did
too
notice
much.
that.
So when you have like your partner in crime, which is
Hmm.
Alfonso Davies and Jonathan David, we all know the kind of link up they have with each other. Your
Yeah.
partner in crime is not really doing. He's not giving you the ball enough and in good positions. That's why for me,
Yeah. Okay.
I understand. I agree with you that he had not a very good tournament,
But it's
but
not all on him, kind of.
he's a poacher.
Hmm.
He's that player that you're gonna give him the ball, he's gonna be in a good position, he's gonna score a goal.
Hmm.
And he didn't get have the ball
Yeah.
multiple times in good positions, so
No, fair enough.
he's not gonna do much. He's gonna
Yeah.
disappear during the game. He's not someone that's gonna drop deep and try to play.
Hmm.
He's not Kyle Laren. Kyle Laren would have
Yeah.
helped a lot, and we didn't see that enough in my
No.
opinion. So
No, and it's unfortunate, obviously, that Jonathan David is playing regular club football, whereas Kyle Aaron isn't, and so
yeah,
perhaps that did figure somewhat into John Herdman's decisions. But I do agree with you, a forward who tracks back a lot more and can drop deeper is a more useful choice when you have these teams that are just so far above the level of anything you've ever played before.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah. And as well, I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about the CF Montreal players, or by this
Of
point,
course.
former CF Montreal players, as it were, because two of them are no longer with us. But we will talk about that certainly in a moment. So let's start with the guy who's still here for now, Kamal Miller. How would you rate his tournament, Hattie?
He
It's
had,
tricky, isn't it?
yeah, I think he had a rocky tournament. Like, he had a game where he wasn't good, and
Mm-hmm.
another game where he was really good, and then the
Mm-hmm.
third game where he was like,
Yeah.
average. So for me, an average competition, but I think
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna help him a lot. He's gonna grow a lot. He's gonna learn a lot
Mm-hmm.
from that tournament because he played against teams where a small mistake could cause a goal, and we see it.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it
And
so many
did
times.
did cause a goal.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think average for me. What do you
No,
think?
I would agree. Like he definitely had some spectacular moments, particularly against Belgium, which again, like we're kind of taking the Belgium result with a grain of salt because, we saw how they did. Oh, poor Hattie. Um, but like you said, there were some mistakes, and maybe that is, we kind of talked about the size of the occasion that these players were experiencing for the first time in their lives, and especially for, like we talked about Emilian Borjan, but he's played in, Champions League and UEFA Champions League before, so he has played on some big stages
Yeah,
certainly. But that being said, like for guys like Kamal Miller, I mean, this is miles above the biggest match they've ever
exactly.
played. So, and it might be that led to some of those errors as well. But I agree with you. It was a kind of a roller coaster tournament for him. He had some highlight reel moments and he had some nightmare moments.
Yeah, and you know what? He was tired, and it showed.
You could
He
tell that he
played.
got beat for speed a lot.
Yeah, this guy I think played so much during the season in
Mm-hmm.
2022 with Canada or with CF Montreal that
Mm-hmm.
I think he was out of gas during that tournament, and again, I think it's a good thing because he's going to be, I think, very ready for 2023 for not only CF Montreal season, but also the Gold Cup, because we have the Gold
Mm-hmm.
Cup coming in 2023. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a very valuable lesson for Kamal Miller to really learn, the how to play at that level,
Yeah.
and it's going to be beneficial, I think.
Yeah. Agreed. No, agreed for sure. Let's talk about Alistair Johnston next along that back line. And hi, Sam.
Hey Sam. Sam is not with us, but he came in and said
He's with
said
us in
hi here.
spirit.
Exactly, exactly.
Alrighty, Hattie. Alistair Johnston, how do
Yeah.
you believe he did this World Cup?
A lot of people are not going to be okay with what I'm going to say, but for me, he had an amazing World Cup. I really, really, really like what he showed. A lot of people were saying, yeah, but defensively, I'm like, yeah, but his role, he
Mm-hmm.
played it to the perfection. Whenever he used to go very high, there should have been someone that was covering him. And when that someone wasn't covering him, it's not his fault, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he showed the world what kind of player he is. Very effective offensively, and whenever he needed to play defensively, he did very well.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, he's not Dani Alves at his prime. No, of course not. But I think he showed a very good level, and that's the reason why we saw what we saw. We saw that
Mm-hmm.
transfer move that we're going to talk about a bit later, because this guy showed that he can do it. And again, it's funny. I think we talked about it last time, if I'm not mistaken. But during Croatia game against the
Mm-hmm.
Croatia game, the right back of Croatia is the starter of Celtic.
Yeah, we did talk about it.
We did talk about it. So, and I'm sorry, but Juranovic is good, but I don't think he's much better than Alistair Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's a semifinalist of the World Cup right now,
Yeah.
Juranovic. So, I don't know. I'm very happy. I really loved his World Cup. I love the World
Mm-hmm.
Cup of Alistair Johnston.
Mm-hmm. I like the attitude that he showed from the outset. Like we saw him, catching some cards against Belgium, for example, and so I think he clearly wanted to go out and show that he wasn't intimidated or caught up in the occasion. So I think that was really positive to see. I think we did see, particularly against, I know you talked about Juranovic as his counterpart, but against the Croatian attackers, I think we did see, their fancy footwork probably was a little bit more than he could keep up with on a couple of occasions, because we saw that they were targeting that side a lot. So he did get run through his races that match.
Yeah, they were targeting that side, but they weren't targeting Alistair Johnston. They were
Mm-mm.
just giving the ball to Ivan Perisic, who's
Yeah, fair enough.
one of the best players in that Croatia
Okay.
team.
Well, yeah. Well, nonetheless, regardless of the reason, he was the victim of where Perisic was playing.
But,
There you go.
of course, he's not at the level of Perisic.
No,
Like
no,
who are we kidding, right?
no,
But I
no,
don't think he was ridiculed by Perisic either.
no. I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
Overall, not ridiculed. And like I said, I like the attitude that he showed from the outset. And it kind of reminded me very much of the same attitude that we saw from that national team during qualifying, which we'll talk about later, whether or not that stuck around at the World Cup. Alrighty, and last but most assuredly not least, Ismail Kone.
He did well, the young lad. Really, he was, you know, I don't know. I like that player. Like, at one time I was not really enthused by his performances in Montreal, but he's been good for the Canadian national team. I don't know. I like the way he turns. I like the way he turns with the ball. I like the way his vision. It looks like a very different player than Ismail Kone in April 2022. We have a different player altogether.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you for sure. I like the way he controls the ball. I like the way he's able to spin off of defender or like another midfielder, as it usually is, to keep control. And he tries really hard to make a positive pass forward as well, which I'm sure John Herdman really appreciates. I think there had been a little bit of criticism as to his, if he was willing to track back enough defensively. But I think we saw, in his sub appearances, when he came on, obviously Canada was in a losing position every time. So it was a little bit of a different scenario maybe, but I think we did see him moving, well up and down the pitch. So no, for me overall, the fact that he was one of the first players that John Herdman would call on regularly, consistently every match, shows to me that he's being set up to be a really key player for 2026. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like his creativity. It just feels like the ball is almost on a little string in front of his feet when he's carrying it up, and it's never going to get too far away. I think he has nice control.
Yeah, and he was always a breath of fresh air every time he came on the pitch, and he created something that was missing in that Canadian midfield, and I think everybody saw that. Everybody saw that, and not only in all three games, he proved that he's ready to go elsewhere. And you know what? He's going elsewhere.
Oh, he did. As we will talk about later.
Exactly.
Yes. So, okay, let's talk next. Now that we've kind of reflected on 2022 World Cup for Canada, anything else you want to say before we start looking ahead?
Yeah, I just want to give an honorable mention to James Mentemis and Samuel Piet. First of all, we always know a second and third goalkeeper are not going to see the field much, and it's always tough. But you know what? They are part of that dressing room. They are important within the dressing room. They are important in preparation of games. So do not disregard what they bring. Same thing for a player like Samuel Piet. Yes, he didn't get not even a second on the pitch, but I think that on that last game against Morocco, we saw John Herdman give minutes to all the older players, those players that he's sure are not going to be back in 2026. And he privileged that because in his mind, in my opinion, Samuel Piet should be here in 2026 and should get minutes on the pitch.
I would expect that.
Exactly. So John Herdman always said that Samuel Piet is very important for Canada, for the Canadian national team. And we all know what he brings in the locker room,
Mm-hmm.
and of course what he brings on the pitch too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty sure that Samuel Piet was a big part of that journey, and yeah, so I just wanna say good job for
Mm-hmm.
those two players.
Right on. No, good point. And you know what? I think we should, before we just move on, I think we should again call out the fact that Daniil Henry sacrificed his place at the World Cup. Did you see the post that he
Yeah.
made and that all the other players then they commented on? You know, to me that's a really important thing. And like Robbie said, don't forget Waterman. It's basically
Nah, I
no.
forgot my man Joel. Man, we had him on the
Uh,
show. Like,
that's,
no, I'm sorry, Joel. I'm sorry.
That's how I was trying to segue there via Daniil Henry sacrificing because it
I
made a
know.
place for Joel Waterman to get there. I was trying to make it sound more natural for you, Hattie.
Whoopsie.
That's okay. You're under the weather. We'll cut you a break. But yeah, I mean, obviously Joel Waterman worked really hard all season with Montreal
Yeah,
and was rewarded. You know, I do feel bad for Daniil Henry because he likely will not be part of the squad in 2026. It would surprise me
nah,
greatly.
nah, it's impossible. He's what?
Yeah,
He's 31 now.
I Um,
I don't know, but
um,
I don't think he's. Oh, he's 29. He
yeah.
could. At
No.
33, he could be our Steven Vittoria.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, he could potentially, but obviously, it- he's got to get minutes and stuff, and
Be
then no,
careful. Be careful on what you say, Eve.
no, I'm trying to say nice things about him
Okay,
here.
okay, good, good, good.
You know, no, the fact that he gave up his place for another
Yeah,
player, I think is really selfless, and I really hope that that's the spirit that the team is able to carry going forward to 2026.
I agree.
Because definitely I think we've got 3.5 long years of preparation ahead of us, and we saw where Canada is compared to some of the best teams in the world, and there's still room for growth for sure.
I agree.
So with that being said, Hattie, I'm kind of going to open this up and you can take it however you want. um, in your opinion, what does Canada need to start doing to be more competitive come 2026? You can take it with players, you can take it with tactics, take it however you want. What would you tackle first if you had a voice at Canada Soccer?
Well, so many things. There's so many things that Canada didn't do well and that could improve on. And there's so many things that Canada started doing well, but is not mature enough to be at that level yet, and
Mhm.
they need to build on that. So let's start with the tactics. We understand that Alfonso Davies plays for Bayern Munich. We understand that
Mhm.
he's the best player maybe Canada has ever seen. We understand his might. We understand that he's at a higher level. But this is a team sport. This is You cannot let Alfonso Davies have the ball and dribble 3, 4 guys. This is not the
Mhm.
way we play football. So the best game of Alfonso Davies was when he was a left wing back against Belgium. That was his best game. And I
Mhm.
think this is his position now. He should play there because up front, we have so many players that could do the job with Jonathan David, with Kyle Aaron, with so many players that are able to produce and put the ball at the back of the net that you don't really need Alfonso Davies up front. You have Tajan
Mhm.
Buchanan, you have Junior Hoylett. Now Hoylett is not going to be here next time, but you have players, and next World Cup you're gonna have the Corbianus, you're gonna have all those players that Liam Miller
Mhm.
that's I think did very well when he came in that one game. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's time to use Alfonso Davis at his position because that's where he's best. So that's the second thing. The first thing, sorry, the first thing. Second thing, um, we need a better defense. We really need a better defense. You know what? I'm not gonna spit on Steven Vittoria and Kamal Miller because they did well. They didn't. I don't think they were that bad, but they're not at the level that's required for a World Cup.
Mhm.
We need better center backs. Maybe Miller with someone else could be very good. I'm not saying that. I think both of them together is not enough. That's what I'm saying.
Mhm.
So are we gonna go look at players with dual citizenship and see if we can get someone that could wear Canada's colors? Is it time to take a look at the Canadian Premier League and give a chance to some of those players that are doing well at maybe a lower league, but maybe can explode at a higher level if you give them
Mm-hmm.
give them a chance? Is it time to maybe call up some of those players in the Canadian Premier League and show them off a bit? Because I think they could be very good, like Joel Waterman. Uh, so is it not the Canadian national team mandate to showcase
It's
that
domestic league.
yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
professional that the first professional league in the country?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we could do better from that side. And lastly, the third thing that I wanted to say is we need to be humble. We need to understand our place on the world stage. We're not gonna F Croatia. We're not. So let's look at those games. Even whatever team is in this World Cup, we were maybe 26th, 27th, or 28th in that World Cup. If you look at the quality of our squad and the
Mm-hmm.
experience of our squad, and we weren't. People thought that we would go to the semifinals. Are you guys crazy, man? Are you guys
Look,
crazy?
I've told you before. People get food poisoning, Hattie. It can affect a whole team. No, I'm joking.
No, but you know what? We could have had a point against Belgium. We could have won against Belgium. We could have tied against Morocco because you know what? Second half we did very well and could
And
have
that
tied.
crossbar, yeah.
And that crossbar from Atiba. So we could have tied, with a bit of luck. But guys, we're far from that level still. And we need to understand how far we are, and we need to understand that in order to close that gap we need to work on ourselves, and it starts with the mental side. We're not here to F whoever. We're here to maybe grab a point. And that's it. So yeah, those three things
Mhm.
are I think the things that we need to work on. I don't know if you have your own view on
Um,
those.
I think I would just say kind of that, that mentality that like they would die for each other out on the pitch, and they were so united during qualifying. I'm not sure if that mentality was still in place once they got to Qatar. And I'm not 100% sure. I know I've seen some things floating around that maybe the squad wasn't quite as united as they had been, for reasons I don't know. So I think for me, like, that played so well for Canada during the qualifying section of this year, that I think they really need to roll back and find that, whether it's sticking with small squad selections and kind of gradually bringing in different players. um, but I also agree with you, Hadi, that the defense, and that's a position, central defense, that Canada has long struggled
Yeah.
to develop players for, no matter where they try to pick them from. So I gotta
Tamori, where are you, Tamori? Where are you, man? You were
Nope.
at
Move on.
home.
Move on.
No, but he was at home watching the World Cup on the
He made his
TV.
choice. He made his
He could
choice.
have been with us,
He
man.
made his choice.
Ah, yeah, I agree.
He
Yeah,
made
I
his
know, I
choice.
know. But
Yeah.
it's his choice, and
Yep.
hopefully he'll get back with the England national team because yeah,
But
I
well, no, and I don't mean it in an unkind way. I just don't care. He made his choice. I've moved on.
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Fair enough. All right. And we had a question from Robbie
Oh yeah,
regarding
you had a couple.
yes, so we had one regarding the national team.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the second question, we're going to hit that in a minute. But for the first question is what we're going to deal with right now. For the men's national team, is John Herdman the right man to take this team to the next level for 2026?
I think that right now he is. I don't think he's going to be the national team coach that's going to stay for 20 some years. No. But I think for 2026, I think he should be our man. The reason behind it is that every time John Herdman had a bad performance in a competition, the next competition, he did very well.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he had a bad game tactically, the next game he brought his A game, and his capacity to bounce back and to lead his team again is very important. And second of all, I talked about the mental side. You know, be humble. Yes, I think he was someone that needed to be humble, and I
Mm-hmm.
think he learned from that. And I think he's gonna be able to maybe control the mindset of players, because that's his strength. He's someone that's a motivator. He's someone that's mentally put the players in the right mindset. He made a mistake before the game against Croatia.
Mm-hmm.
He's learning from it, and I want to see what he can do in the next cycle. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, yes, he is the man for 2026. Now, beyond that, no, he wouldn't be the man for me,
Okay.
whatever the results.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, if Carlo Ancelotti, becomes available, I wouldn't say no, just to be clear. But overall, I think we have seen a lot of good from John Herdman in both the men's and women's national teams. I think his ability to motivate a squad is so important. And like you said, he probably did make some naive mistakes
Yeah,
at this World Cup, but
he's
I
learning.
think, yeah,
He's learning.
yeah.
He's young too, right? He doesn't have experience at that stage either.
No, I know, I know. So I think that his ability to be flexible tactically, when you're going to face teams from all over the world, literally, is important, as well as, like I said, to unify a group of players who only come together every so often, so quickly and so strong. So I would keep him around for 2026.
Good. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, we're on the same length. Wow, that's fair.
it's
That's
nice.
good.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it happens more often than not. Also, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't hear you, but
I was
I think I
eliminated on
can.
Friday.
Ooh. Okay, Eve, we're losing you, man. Okay, we lost you. Eve. Oh, now you're back.
Nope. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, now we can hear
Okay,
you.
cool.
It was very jumpy. I couldn't
Okay.
hear you. Yeah, but I think you said that it happens.
Sorry
It
about
happens
that.
more often than it happens. It happens more often than we know. Yeah, no, I agree. I just like to
Yeah.
tease you. That's all.
Yeah. I know. All right. So now I'm gonna tease you, okay?
Yeah.
Because Brazil lost on Friday
Oh
in
man,
penalties.
please.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's
But
so sad. So
that
sad.
means. I don't know. Well, I'm sad just because I look silly because I said, "Oh, I think Brazil's going to take it this year," and so now I'm just sad because I look silly. I didn't necessarily have feelings. I'm just my dignity. But that being said, Hady, now that we're down to the semifinals, do you care to readjust your prediction for the winner? Because the next time we record, we will know the identity of the World Cup winner.
Yeah. So we have Croatia, Argentina, France, Morocco. Oh wow. Who would have thought that these would be our semifinalists? You know what, guys? Okay, I'm gonna give my prediction, and then I'm gonna give what I want. It's two different things.
Okay.
I think that
like your head and your
France,
heart.
Yeah, I think that France is just too strong. I didn't rate them that high because they decided to change their formation just before the World Cup without even trying it. But it's I always like you cannot underestimate Didier Deschamps. You know what? I should know that. He was the coach of Marseille for 4 years, so I should know never to underestimate Didier Deschamps. But I think they're a bit too strong. So I think France will take it. That's my head talking. My heart doesn't want France. I don't like that national team. and I really wanted for Messi for Argentina. So or Modric for
Mm-hmm.
Croatia. So
Mm-hmm.
those two, I'll be very happy for those two,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they deserve it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And France again, world champion. It's no, I don't want to see
It's a boring narrative. I agree.
that. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
no,
What's your
I,
choice?
I do think France is best positioned to take it now for sure. But I love a Cinderella story, and we have gotten one of the best Cinderella stories in recent World Cups with Morocco knocking out
Oh, wow.
Spain and beating Belgium and knocking out Portugal with a goalkeeper born in Montreal, no less.
In
So,
Côte des Neiges, in my neighborhood,
oh my
like
god,
here, like right here. It's
you know, like
amazing.
take pictures of the hospital or something.
Oh, it's so crazy because he lived here, so like all the street, like everybody, all the restaurants, they're all
Hmm.
putting the games, and even I saw a sign at one point. Oh, Bunu, he's Montreal, Côte des Neiges born, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, that's nice, it's cute.
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, he chose Morocco though to represent, which, to be fair, I think is where he did live a large part of his life. So, okay, fair enough. That being said, I would love for a team that has never won it, a team that has never made the final. I mean, they're the first African nation to make the semifinals. So I'm like, come on, just see it through to the end. That's kind
and
of my hope.
and first Arab nation to
Yes.
go that far. So yeah, very very interesting. There's a lot of uh, arguments about Morocco being first African or Arab. Guys, they're both. Okay, so like chill out. They're African and Arab. So that's it.
I don't
Uh,
pretend to know these things. I just know they're physically located on the continent of
oh man,
Africa.
I was just looking at tweets today, and
Hmm.
people arguing, no, they're first African, no, they're first Arab, and I'm like, guys, they're both. It's okay, man. No,
Fair
but
enough.
what a great story! What a great story! And
Hmm.
you have so many players that are doing so well in that Moroccan team, and you would have expected to see a Ziyech or Mazraoui really,
Rashaf
be
Hakimi.
stars or Hakimi be the stars, and they're not. It's
Mm-mm.
it's other players and the Siri who, oh, what a great goal he scored
That was a
against.
big jump.
Oh wow, so good. So yeah, no, very happy about Moroccan
Hmm.
performances. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Like guys, that's in my heart. My head says that's humanly impossible because the sheer quality of France. But anyway, I think it is going to make for a really interesting semifinal. That being said, and
yeah, and there'll be riots in France if Morocco wins.
I can only imagine.
Riots.
I can imagine they'll certainly be upset. That being said, though, let's move on to our next topic. And we are coming close to home now because we have a bunch of departures
Oh,
from CF Montreal to talk about. So I'm kind of going to go in chronological order that they happened, starting with the one that already happened first, and then we'll catch right up to the present, okay? So, first things first, we learned that Alistair Johnston, after a fair bit of rumor, has been transferred officially to Celtic FC for rumored approximately 3.5 million. And again, this is according to Transfermarkt, so take it with a grain of salt. There's no official figure. 3.5 million euros. I've seen this figure in a bunch of currencies, though, so just like I said, big grain of salt. Of course, we talked about this move for both Johnston and for CF Montreal and for Celtic FC as well with Paul Vance 2 weeks ago, and I think we all agreed it was an excellent move for everyone involved. So now that it's official, just to kind of acknowledge that, and I wanted to ask you, Hady, what is your favorite memory of Alistair Johnston during his short time with Montreal?
uh, the media availabilities of Johnston.
Mm-hmm.
The guy is so funny. Is uh, talks very well, expresses himself very well, is not afraid to go on camera and say what he thinks, loves soccer. And, I had the opportunity to interview him one on one for an article for Quebec Soccer. This guy We were supposed to talk half an hour. I think we talked for an hour.
Hmm.
And we just talked about just soccer in general. Big Manchester United fan, by the way.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I think just the human being, Alistair Johnston, is someone that will dearly miss.
Mhm. Yeah. No, for sure. Like I remember, he was just a player with I think such his passion was just so obvious, and he came out of nowhere. He was playing amateur level 3 years ago. So it's just wild to think of that. So I'm really pleased for him. He scored I think a few more goals than we all expected him to. Um, and I think probably what I'll take away is that goal that he scored against Toronto FC, because that's always a good one. I know he had said he was really excited to play against them because, they'd overlooked him for their academy back in the day. So I hope that one was really special for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as well, just the fact that he tried really hard to do a lot of his media availability in French. I think that is something that he deserves a lot of credit for.
Yeah, he speaks French, so
Yeah.
and he likes to really practice it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have liked to see him in play in France. I think he would
Mm-hmm.
have been very very good. But you
Mm-hmm.
know what? He's playing in Celtic. That's a
Yep.
great great club. So he's gonna play European
Mm-hmm.
football, and
Yep.
hopefully he'll play. Hopefully he. But you know what? This guy works so hard
Yep.
that even if he's not a starter at first, he's gonna play. He's gonna work his ass off
Yep.
to get minutes, and he will get minutes. I'm pretty sure.
I agree. And I hope so. And I'm going to keep an eye out for sure. Yeah, he is natural. That's for sure. Yes. Yes, Holy Gale would love chatty soccer players. That's for sure. I can assure you of that. She like chatty anyone she'll take. Sorry, Holy Gale. That being said, anything else you want to say about Alistair Johnston?
No, I think we said
Um,
enough, and good luck for the future. We will keep an eye on your
mhm.
performances. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I mean we'll get to see him all the time with the national team anyway. So yeah, it certainly won't be the last that I'll be watching of Alistair Johnston. Alrighty, next to be catching a flight is Ismail Kone. Obviously, we have dealt with Kone related transfer rumors ever since the summer, and I think even like 2 minutes after he made his debut, we were all like, okay, he's not sticking around for very long. But that being said, this past week, he was officially transferred to Watford in the English Championship for what is reportedly a club record fee. Once again, no fee was officially disclosed. What's published online, I've seen, but again, it's not a confirmed thing. I wouldn't even qualify it as reputable. Is in the vicinity of 8 million. Um, so now he's 20 years old. He's obviously just finished his first professional year. He's moved to the English Championship with the possibility to go on loan to the other team owned by the same ownership group, Udinese, in Serie A. Um, I think Ismail Kone's time in Montreal was very short but very sweet. Anything you want to say on this move for Kone?
Oh, I think that's pure gold for Montreal. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he only stayed a season, but he gave so much during that season. And you know what? He came out of nowhere. He didn't cost anything to Montreal, and you sell him for 8 million. So like, this is pure profit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is amazing for Montreal, and I I think that if we had held him here in Montreal, that would have been a very bad move because I don't think he would gain so much value in MLS,
No, no.
more value in MLS. So no, I think very very well
Mm-hmm.
made by Montreal, by Olivier Renard and
Mm-hmm.
everything.
Yep.
Um, I'm just a bit worried about Kone going to championship. Um, I I think the league is a bit too physical, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just afraid that they just break him.
No, no.
And, he's so tall that
He's like lean and lithe.
exactly. So uh, I'll be afraid. about a very serious injury. So I don't
Mhm.
really like that move for him. Um,
Mhm.
but if he gets a loan in Udinese, I think Serie A would be awesome because I think he'd be very good in Serie A because it's not a very fast paced league.
Mhm.
So and with his pace and his him spinning off the ball, him turning with the ball, and looking his vision with the quick passes and everything.
Mhm.
I think he would be very very good in Serie A.
Mhm.
Um, so that's the only thing. But you know what? This guy deserves it,
Yep.
100%, and it's
Yep.
very good money for Montreal.
Agree. And if he does stick around with Watford, he's already got some experience with coaching related drama under his belt because Watford loves to fire a coach, even more so than CF Montreal.
Yeah, and you know
Yeah.
what? Maybe he'll give us some copies of Football Manager because Miles Jacobson is a very, very big fan of Watford, by the way. So, so yeah, just send us some copies, man.
Oh, hi. Ah, that'd be a weird way to get it. Oh my. That being said, before we wrap up, let's also share a memorable moment for Ismail Kone in Montreal. What do you have, Hattie? Or
first
if
game,
yeah.
first game, Olympic Stadium, first
Mm-hmm.
start for him, first goal for him. What an amazing start of his career.
Yeah.
Uh, Nobody thought he'd be that good. Nobody. Nobody. And you know what? Bravo. That's all I can say. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, for me that
Mm-hmm.
game is always I'm always gonna remember Ishmael
Mm.
Kone for that game.
Yeah, mine would be for his playoff goal against Orlando because,
Also,
which his last goal, unfortunately, but nonetheless, that was I think when that like you said, his first game, nobody knew that he was going to be that good, and of course, in playoffs, a player has to bring it to another level, right? A player has to really have that cool head when the moment strikes. And sure enough, there he was with the one of those nifty little runs and the great vision that Georgi Mihailovic was able to pick him out. And he finished the sequence. And for me, I was like, okay, he's made it. He's made it and he's gone. He's as good as on a plane. It's all good. So I just wanted to enjoy that moment while it happened. But like I said, he's going to be used to coaching changes when he moves along. And good for him. Before we move on, though, let's quickly we have Robbie's second question from last week, and we also have a
yeah,
question from Tate.
yeah. So second question from last week: are there any
Uh,
players out there that are possible replacements for the guys we are losing? What do you think, Eve?
I mean, there have to be. Olivier Renard has always said he's got somebody in his back pocket for every player on the team. So theoretically, yes. As far as who would actually, and I guess we can include Georgi Mihailovic in this discussion as well, right?
Yeah,
Because he's also
of
gone.
course. Yeah,
As far as who would actually be a great replacement, I know who was it that joined us and said Paxton Pomical? Was it Tristan? Was it you?
it was me.
Oh, sorry, my bad. I thought it was one of our guests.
No, he said Keaton
Oh,
Parks.
yes, yes, from
Yeah,
NYC.
he's a
Right, you
big
are.
Keaton Parks. I wanted Paxton Pomical.
Yeah, yeah, he comes to mind. Like I kind of do end up thinking within MLS just because that's how Montreal's best transactions have gone. But looking around, there's nobody really that like s- sticks out to me as fitting that mold. And it's really hard as well because we don't know who Montreal's coach is going to be. So we don't know exactly what sort of system this coach is going to need players for. So for me, it's a little bit hard to pick out right now without an idea of the identity of how the team's going to play next year. So Hattie?
Yeah, of course, it's hard, but the thing is, it doesn't really matter who the coach is because in Montreal, it's Olivier Renard that decides on the players,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very clear. I mean, he said it himself. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"I'm the one that do the transactions for players." It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. So the style of play, Gabriel Gervais said it, and Olivier Renard said it, is going to be the same. They want someone that can play as offensive as Wilfried Nancy, take risks, play the beautiful way, right?
Mm-hmm. Right,
It's
but
not
like as
really
far
gonna
as
change.
formation goes,
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need a creative midfielder, whatever the
sure,
formation, right? So
sure.
you need a creative midfielder, you need a creative right back slash wing back. You know, you need a central defender. You need because Corbo is gone. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
You need a goalkeeper. So whatever the formation, those players have to be recruited.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's I there is a lot of work that could be done without knowing the identity of a new coach, in my opinion. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I do trust Olivier Renard and Vasily Kermanzidis because we all talk about Olivier Renard, but I think Vasily's job right now is going to be even more important than Olivier Renard because
Mm-hmm.
if we understand the model of CF Montreal, the big players that we're getting are within MLS,
Yeah.
are not international players. The international players we're getting are players that we're going to try, are hit and miss players. And it's
Mm-hmm.
okay. It's a model like another, right? So we are going to be able to get players. Which players? Pomikal, I think would be great. You have so many players that could be. You know what? I know a lot of people don't like him because of his history with CF Montreal, but a right back like Ruan, I don't think would
Mm.
be a bad fit for
Are
Montreal.
they similar profile? Yes, agree. There we go. That's how I will
Yeah.
acknowledge your question without being mean.
But he's,
um,
he's a very good player, right? So you
yeah.
have good players in MLS, and you just need to go and get them. That's
Mm-hmm.
all.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, it's a good point. And, Montreal is obviously going to have a fair bit of GAM to spend because these transfer fees, as we know, they're able to recycle a portion of them back into GAM. So that they will certainly have some money to spend. So
Yeah, I don't know what the rule is, but
it's,
some transfers are going to be 95%, and the others are going to be 100. So depending,
yeah, on
depending.
homegrownness.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure if Kone qualifies as homegrown or not,
I
but
don't think he does.
yeah, I don't think he does. But Gabriel Gervais said it in his interview.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna reinvest, but like it didn't look like all that money is gonna be reinvested. So like
Well, no, the league
profits.
only allows you to reinvest a certain amount. As far as GAM goes, you're only allowed to reinvest. I believe it's in the vicinity of 1 million. It's like 1 million with some weird number attached. You're only allowed to convert, say, 1 million to GAM. But as far as obviously like other transfer fees that you would pay in, say, normal money to other leagues, like you said, they're planning to reinvest. But I also listened to that interview, and it wasn't exactly like the sexiest sounding reinvestment of my life. And that
Yeah,
actually, go ahead.
I didn't know that it was only 1 million.
It's in the vicinity of 1 million.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, good to know. Good
yeah,
to
because
know.
it used to be 750,000, but obviously that was some years ago. So times have
Okay,
changed. Inflation hits
good
us
to know.
all.
Good to know.
Yeah, yeah. But that being said, it kind of brings us to Tate's question, actually.
Yeah. So let's take a look at Tate's question. There it is.
So, with the team making $17 to $20 million in transfer fees this offseason, how much of that do you predict that they will use on player acquisition? So, I think we kind of did address this to some degree, but Heidi, I'll let you go first.
I would say between 3 and 5 million. I don't see them use more than that. The reason behind it is that we've been losing a lot of money during the pandemic, very
Mm-hmm.
like between 10 and 20 millions, and that's too much. That's really too much. And we can hate Stewie Saputo as much as we want,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, like nobody on earth is would be happy to lose that much money
No.
year in year out. So it's kind of understandable, but I think we'll use about
Mm-hmm.
3 to 5 millions.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't expect it to be a lot because, we've been told for some time, and obviously Gabriel Gervais' press conference earlier this week reaffirmed that Montreal is going to be kind of looking to buy low, sell high. So I certainly wouldn't be looking to exceed the figure that Hady mentioned. I would be excited if Montreal spent $5 million on players. And are we? By the way, when we say $5 million, are we including like MLS money, or are we talking about real money?
Oh, altogether.
Okay, altogether.
Yeah,
Okay.
altogether. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just figure it's worth clarifying, obviously, because Montreal's got like $3 extra million in GAM now.
Yeah. No. It's yeah. So I'm trying to find that I'm sorry. I'm trying to find how much GAM we're getting, but you said $1 million, and I
it's
really
in the vicinity of $1 million.
Okay.
I'm
I really want to
sorry.
know the exact amount. I'm looking for it. So
yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. I'll also look for you, and I can look for you after the fact as well. But yeah, I will look for sure. I just have also to kind of keep this going, so you can look while I talk.
Yeah,
All right,
for sure,
cool.
for sure.
Yeah,
I'm here. I'm with you.
But anyway, okay, cool. Anyway, sorry, Tate, that our answer is probably like not as exciting as one would hope. But that being said, I think I'd rather be realistic, right? Yeah, at the end of the day. So that being said, let's move on to our final, and I don't know if we'll call it most dramatic. It's probably most impactful departure, but I think the writing's been on the wall for some time. Midweek, Wilfried Nancy was officially unveiled as the new coach of the Columbus Crew. ... Obviously, Montreal did receive some compensation. We don't know the nature of the compensation. And Gabriel Gervais, of course, came out to do a presser after the announcement was done, and we learned a fair bit from that. Nancy had essentially resigned after the Sporting Kansas City match, but was convinced to finish out his contract. And as we know, he had requested not to negotiate at all. Of course, the team really, 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 really wanted him to stay. They offered to equal any other offers from any other teams financially, but Nancy made it pretty clear that, money wasn't going to cut it. That wasn't going to be a question of money as to why he was leaving. As well, we did learn that Joey Saputo visited the team's locker room after their final match in the loss to NYCFC in the playoffs to essentially kind of to thank them, of course, for the season, but also to some degree apologize for not believing in them and the project. And that was certainly interesting. And obviously, as we learned, Nancy had also changed agents partway through the year, which could also have contributed potentially. I kind of got that from Gervais's answers to some of the questions that were asked of him. But Hady, what do you make of this?
Listen, it's very disappointing to see Wilfried Nancy leave. Very, very disappointing. But at the end of the day, we have to move on. And we have to understand that, Joey made a mistake. He tried to apologize. He tried to come back. He tried to, Gervais said, tried to get in contact with the Wilfried Nancy, and there was no answer from Wilfried Nancy. So at the end of the day, when I kind of understand Nancy and I kind of understand the club, I understand both of them. That relationship was just broken. And it's time to move on. For us fans, we need to just make sure that we continue supporting the project, because the project wasn't Wilfried Nancy. The project was a whole idea run by Olivier Renard, Vassili Koumantzidis, Gabriel Gervais, and Wilfried Nancy. One of those is not here anymore. He's going to be replaced. The project goes on. We had exactly the same kind of thing when Henry left. And everybody was like, it's the first time that we're not a counter-attacking team anymore. We're able to play. We're able to do. Yes, it looks good and everything. Yes, we didn't make the playoffs, but you know what? It seemed like something very good. And now he's gone. And we got Nancy. And everybody was like, who's Nancy? We're never going to be able to do anything. And then we did. And now it's the same thing. I'm not saying that next year we're going to be finished second or first in the conference. Not at
Mm-hmm.
all. And I don't think it will ever happen. But the project itself is going to continue. The thing is, I think the decision now of Olivier Renard is going to be super important because you cannot make a mistake in the identity of the next coach. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot.
No.
This is going to be crucial. And you know what? I watched the presser of Wilfried Nancy with Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
and it seemed that he's very happy there, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going to have a lot more control over things than
Yeah.
he would ever had here.
Yeah.
Tim Bezbatchenko, who's maybe the best sporting director in the history of that league,
Mm-hmm.
said at one point, "Hey, I already proposed 3 players and he refused them all."
Mm-hmm.
So he has that power to refuse players that his sporting director proposes. He
Yeah.
would never have had this here.
Yeah.
Never. So, and we all know, the rumors about him wanting another goalkeeper and he never got one. And, we all know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, farewell, Wilfried Nancy. It's sad, but you know what? We're still supporters of CF Montreal, Montreal Impact, whatever you want to call them. We're here. We're not
Mm-hmm.
moving. We're not going
Yeah.
anywhere. And
Just like players come and go, so do
yeah,
coaches,
exactly.
especially in Montreal.
Exactly. And you know what? This time, at least we got money out of it. It's the first
Yeah.
time.
Yep, fair enough. They're probably not paying off, a little bit more of a contract because they've gone and sacked the coach. So I guess, yes, we can say to some degree this is an improvement.
We got
Although,
compensation. We got
yep,
compensation back, so that's really
exactly.
good. So.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is it is. I think it would be easier to swallow if either he moved to a different conference or he moved outside the league. To move to a direct opponent is it's a little bit hard to swallow. As far as, he clearly must have really not enjoyed something in particular in Montreal, especially given that he is French speaking. His children have grown up here and everything like that.
Yeah.
To want to move, I think that says a lot. So I'm really hoping as well that Joey Saputo will have learned from this experience. I know, Hady, you are a proponent of he can do what he wants because it's his club. And we're not going to have that argument again because I think we've had it 3 times. But I do hope that he has learned from this experience as far as what he can do versus what he should do, or can say and should say.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I think it's gonna be very interesting. So so I looked it up, by the way. Yes, you receive from a non-homegrown player. The club receives 95% of the corresponding transfer or loan fee revenue, but not all of them can be transferred as GAM.
Exactly. Yeah.
But still, the club gets that money back because before.
Oh yeah, no, they get the money. Yeah.
Yeah, because before it was only about 70%. Everything was swallowed by the league.
The league used to take a big cut.
Exactly. So so not anymore. So at least that. So
yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, excellent. So that being said, obviously we do have a couple of questions that have come in. We have one from, I believe it's Robbie.
Yeah, we have a couple. You have a couple from Robbie. So I think we did that. Second one here. Yeah. Give us a couple of hints on who the new head coach will be for CF Montreal. Yves?
A professional soccer coach. I know nothing. I know nothing. I have no connections. I'm a little bit of a hermit in the off season. I know nothing. Like Jon Snow.
Yeah. I've heard a few rumors. Few coaches that are being interviewed. One of them is already a coach that's you've heard through the rumor,
the general
mill.
Rumor mill. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with Bobby Smyrniotis, I I don't think a decision has been made yet.
Mm-hmm.
There are others. Unfortunately, I cannot uh, give the names. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I have, I
Well,
don't
I mean,
have.
they
I
even
don't
if they
have
want,
a
go ahead.
lot. Sorry, I don't have a lot of names. So yeah, I can't really talk about it. But you heard Gabriel Gervais said French was important, but not as like
Like not
not
a deal breaker.
mandatory. Yeah, not mandatory. So
Mm-hmm.
and not a deal breaker. So we'll see. We'll see.
There you go. Thank you. I was like, you're handling that question. Okay, Robbie. Robbie's trying to peer pressure you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, man. Nothing I can say more than that. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting. Whoever the coach is, it's gonna be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have guys. I don't think you guys understand how lucky we are because we have a very good sporting director, a very, very, very good sporting director that knows a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And no, it's not going to be Wilmer Cabrera, and no, it's not going to be it's not going to be Caleb Porter. So, so yeah, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be
But what
fun.
about Arsene Wenger? You didn't.
Arsene Wenger, man, he's what 80 now. Like he
I don't
doesn't
know.
have
Chance
he
just
does
did it.
he can't coach a club anymore. He's too old, man.
Harsh.
He's 73, man. Like
Okay,
come
Hady.
on.
Have you seen Roy Hodgson and oh my gosh, what's his face who coached Cardiff? Neil Warnock. Oh,
Yeah.
they're coaching it. They're coaching like I don't even. I'm a little concerned about the British pension system because they're still out there. But that being said, yeah, okay. But
I
thank you.
love I
Mhm.
love that suggestion, Alessandro
I
Nesta.
Oh, that's a nice
Love
one.
it.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah,
it.
actually, that would be like a really nice story to have him kind of come back. Of course, we've seen former players coach Montreal before to varying degrees of success.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I agree. I'm not 100% sure what he's up to now that he's not with Miami FC
Not a
anymore.
club. Not a
Oh,
he
he's a
doesn't
free
have a club.
agent.
He's a
Montreal
free
loves a free
agent.
agent.
He's a free agent. He coached Frosinone
Yeah.
in Italy for a couple of seasons,
Yeah.
and now Frosinone is at Serie B.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, nothing. Now he doesn't have a club, so it could
Right on.
be.
Unattached FC. We love that. Okay. Cool. Anything else to add on
No,
our departures? Alrighty
no,
then.
but guys, think about it. I'm pretty sure we'll have an announcement before Christmas. So
We better.
like any day now.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Noted. Alrighty. With that being said, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to move on to our next segment, Hady. I'm so excited. I've been dying for it all evening. I should have started with it, but I wanted to save it for the very end because I'm so excited. Because Hady, do you know what happened this week? Do you know what got announced
I
this week?
know. I know.
Do you know
You know
why
what?
I'm wearing my t-shirt?
I dreamed about it, and I think we all dreamed about it here at TBIR. Very
Yes.
exciting.
Very, very exciting. So, for anybody who maybe this is your first time listening to us and you don't know what we're so excited about, this week a Canadian Women's Domestic Professional League was announced. It was announced by Project 8 Sports, which is a business initiative helmed by Diana Matheson, of course, former national team legend. So, she is going to be at the helm of this venture. She's also going to have Christine Sinclair as an ambassador for the league as well. So, what we know in the early days here is that there's going to be an 8-team pro women's league that's going to kick off in 2025. As of right now, we have two founding teams, Vancouver Whitecaps and Calgary Foothills. We do know, sadly, that Montreal will not have a team in this league. That was something that Gabriel Gervais was asked about, and he said, unfortunately, financially not feasible. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say you said Montreal would not have a team in this league. No, CF Montreal would not have a team in this league.
Oh yes, that's a very good
Very
point.
important.
Thank you.
Very important.
Very good point. Thank you. My apologies. Thank you for clarifying that. Yes, unfortunately, CF Montreal will not be involved in this league, disappointingly, but that certainly does not exclude Quebec in general. Um, anyway, Hady, how do you feel?
I'm super duper freaking excited.
Honestly, it
It's
came out of nowhere. It feels
ah
like.
no, we've been hearing stuff here and there
Mm-hmm,
about it becoming real. Diana Matheson, when she retired, I went to her media availability when she retired, and she said she was gonna. This is gonna be her main goal. This is gonna be her full time job from now on.
mm-hmm,
She's someone that's very that perseveres a lot, and that's
mm-hmm.
very resourceful. And we saw what she did. We saw what she did. So we've been hearing rumors for maybe a year now that it's close. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's really
Yep.
excited, and I just want to say something. I think the most important thing that I I I heard from that announcement is a couple of times Diana Matheson was asked, "Do you have the money?" And her answer was, "Yes, I have the money." And
Mm-hmm.
every time she said, "Yes, I have the money," I had goosebumps. I had really
Yeah.
goosebumps because at last someone is believing in that project. At
Mm-hmm.
last, someone is looking at this as
Like a
being
financially viable
not
investment.
only that, but as being an anomaly of not having that in that country. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
so happy to see CIBC and Air Canada, being
Mm-hmm.
official partners of that league because, man, wake up, Canada! At last, we woke up. And I like the
Yeah.
business model too. They're
Mm-hmm.
looking for female investors. They're looking
Yep.
for female owners. You know what? Please do,
Mm-hmm.
please do. And
Mm-hmm.
and after they said, yeah, but men are welcome too. But that's what
Mm-hmm.
we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So
No, I'm
exciting,
really, yeah,
exciting.
I'm really excited. Like, I think there seems to be a good sense of realism because obviously this is going to be a league in its founding stages. So it's obviously going to be really expensive to run in its first years for sure. And, Diana Matheson said that they are looking to establish the remaining teams in kind of hub cities to facilitate travel, which I think is a really good idea and really
Yeah,
practical.
yeah,
Um, so I definitely agree with that. She also mentioned that they are hoping to repatriate up to 50% of Canadian players who are currently abroad.
yeah. That's very
How,
exciting.
yes, yes. So who can you see coming into this league, say in 2025, as a quote unquote
Oof.
founding player?
Oh, there's a lot. There's a
I know,
lot of players, but
like anyone in kind of our national team sphere. Do you see any of them coming in
oh,
the early years?
there's a lot. There's
Mm-hmm.
Maria Spinalidou. I think
Mm-hmm.
she would be a player that could come back. Gabrielle Carl, Evelyn Vian,
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina D'Angelo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Vanessa Gilles and Jessie Fleming will come back, or Julia Grosso will come back. But
No, I mean, I Europe is still the highest level. Like, let's be clear.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, but I do see Chloe Lacasse coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I would see a player like Clarissa Larisi that
Mm-hmm.
could be back. There's so many players that could come and just be
Mm-hmm.
a part of that new league. And Marie
Mm-hmm.
Levasseur, that's another player that I could see
Mm-hmm.
would come back. And don't forget about all these NCAA players.
Yeah.
The Jade Rivieres, the Zoe
Jade
Burns,
Roses.
the Jade Roses. There's so many good players in NCAA that should be in
Mm-hmm.
Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So really, 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 really,
Um.
really exciting. I just want
Mhm.
to answer Robbie's
Yep.
concern. Facilities or lack of are major hurdle. I don't agree because you have now in major cities,
Mm-hmm.
you have a professional club. You have a professional club just because of the Canadian national team. The Canadian Premier League and the MLS clubs. You have facilities. You just need to share them. and
Mhm.
they're going to be shared. The Whitecaps are in there,
Yeah.
so they're going to share their facilities. The Foothills, I'm pretty sure they're going to have some sort of an agreement with the Cavalry FC or whatever, or
Mhm.
they do have their own facilities, but pretty sure they will use some of the Cavalry FC facilities.
Mhm.
So you are able to do something.
Mhm.
So no, I'm not really scared of that.
I would certainly hope that doors wouldn't be closed. I don't necessarily think that they should go expecting to get use of facilities for free, but I don't think doors should be closed just because it's a fledgling league in its early stages. I really hope that other teams, whether it's a professional team or not using the facilities, I really hope that they are open to sharing and having a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah,
Gonna keep an eye on if we get a team in the Montreal area. I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on how if CF Montreal is helping out.
but you didn't answer your own question.
What was my own question?
Who do
Oh
you see
gosh,
who do you
sorry.
see coming back from Europe?
Oh gosh, coming back from Europe. I mean, I was even thinking of folks who are down in the NWSL.
Yeah, no,
Because I mean
that's for sure.
that's
That's for
technically
sure.
abroad. Yeah, because I was thinking, those players who are kind of maybe starting to see their career wind down a little bit too. It would be so nice to be close to home, I'm sure. And especially those players who also played with Diana Matheson.
Yeah,
So if you look at, for example, Sophie Schmidt, who played with Diana Matheson for so long, that's somebody who comes to mind as someone who I'm sure
yeah.
would love to be home. We know Christine Sinclair is going to be an ambassador when this league kicks off in 2025. I don't want to rule her out for playing
Did you
because
see her
she
answer?
keeps
Did you
going.
see her answer? Did you
Yeah.
see her answer? She's like 2025, and she looked at her watch, and she's like, "Woof, that's
Yeah.
far, man. That's too far." But no, she
I'm not
cannot promise
counting her
anything.
out. Yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. But Sophie Schmidt is already 34, right? So
Yeah.
2025 would
But
be
she plays
37.
in a defensive midfield role, generally speaking. So it's not a ton of running that's demanded by.
Yeah, but still, like it's still 37. It's pretty hard.
Oh my
So
God, Hattie, you're ageist. Honest to goodness, I can't with you. No, but that being, yeah, no. But obviously, like you said, the players that you mentioned certainly come to mind. Like I think any player where they're in a club right now where they are in contention for playing in Champions League, I certainly imagine them staying there for sure. But those players who are maybe a Sirieka who's in D2 in France.
yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
could be that would be a great thing for her.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of players.
There's
There's a lot of
they
players. Sarah Sadikakis that
Oh
plays, I
yeah.
think, in Sweden.
Mhm.
That could be a good thing for her. She's
Mhm.
23, and I'm pretty sure it would be better for her to come back here. And there's so many players, that could be back, and
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be very exciting. I think it's gonna be very
Yeah.
exciting. And
I'm so excited.
you know what? You know how many players stop their professional careers because of lack of chances, lack of clubs,
Mhm.
home. They don't want to go in third division in France or second division in Sweden. They want to stay home. They want to stay home. And you know what? If they're able to come and work and play a year or two at a professional level here in Canada
Mhm.
and see if they can get some visibility, get a better contract, or move elsewhere after, perfect. At least they'll have that 1 or 2 years at a professional level.
Exactly for that additional development time.
Exactly. So, it's going to be so exciting.
Yeah.
And to come back to Montreal, I
Mhm.
just want to make sure that we cover that the right way.
Okay.
Yes, Gabriel Servet said they will not have a team,
Mhm.
but they're willing to help a team.
Mhm.
And I
Exactly.
think that's very important. So, Robbie talking about facilities, helping the team, maybe it will be sharing their facilities. So that could be a great way to help a professional women's team.
Mhm.
Um, and I hope it's going to be in Montreal.
Oh my God,
I
me
hope we're going
too.
to have a team in Montreal because Montreal deserves it. We do deserve a women's team here. And I would love to see a sporting director in Amy Walsh. Um, that would
Oh my
be
god.
cherry
Don't
on the
even
cake.
Hady.
So so we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
I'm so excited. Like
Yeah.
honestly, I have been pretty much on cloud nine since that announcement came out. Finally retire my no, I'm not gonna retire my t-shirt. I love my t-shirt.
Yeah.
But finally get to wear it in like not an angry sense, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. That's
So
gonna be nice. And you know
yeah,
what? And you know what? What's nice is that they really want a team in Quebec. They
I
said they want a
know.
team in Quebec. And I know the Canadian Premier League has been saying that since 2019. We should see a team in Quebec City in, I think, 2024.
Mhm.
That's the rumor. Next year, we should know the names of the cities that will have clubs.
Yeah.
They want only one in Ontario, which is very good.
Hmm.
We're not going to have like 6 clubs in Ontario, and then which
That's the
is
relief.
that's kind of a relief because I have no disrespect to Ontario or anything, but Ontario is not Canada.
No.
So like, please, Canada is all across. So it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be nice. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Same. I'm really looking forward, and obviously we'll be keeping a really close eye on the developments. And
Yeah.
as something happens, we'll be sure to talk about it here. Absolutely. Um, we also had some more news though from the women's national team this week. Now we know the identity of the tournament where they will be playing in February as part of World Cup prep, and they are returning to this She Believes tournament in the States. So our national team is going to be facing off against the hosts, the USA, Brazil, and Japan in this tournament because as per usual, it's a small tournament. How do we feel about this choice of tournament, Hady? I was not super thrilled, if I'm honest with you.
I hate it. I
Okay,
hate
great.
it.
Okay, I was being diplomatic. Great. Okay, go
No,
to
I'm
town,
not
Hady.
diplomatic. No, I'm not diplomatic. This is BS. I'm sorry. This is complete BS. No, I don't know. We've played Brazil twice. We played Japan once. We played the US God knows how many times.
Countless. Yeah.
Like, we were so happy to see the Arnold Clark Cup at
Oh,
the
it was
beginning
such a
of,
refreshing change.
to see us play against Spain, against England. Man, what's going on? What's
Yeah.
what's what's going on? Like, why? Like, why? And we are Olympic champions. We are developing our team, and we're still playing against the same opponents. How are we gonna improve? How?
No. No,
I don't
I
know.
can't answer. I can't answer your question because I don't see it. But no, that's exactly how I felt. I was like I said, I was pretty disappointed. I was kind of hoping maybe they could get into the Tournoi de France because that could be a different change.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the Arnold Clark Cup, we knew they weren't going to be there for a few months now, so that one I had kind of written my hopes off. But I kind of thought the Tournoi de France would have been really interesting for them. Yes, Robbie is
I
calling
always
you.
do, Robbie. I
Yes.
always do. I always tell you how I feel. Play the youth, Robbie.
Play the youth indeed. That being said, yeah, like you said, we've played the US so many times. We just played Brazil twice. And I mean, Japan is a team that Canada doesn't play against very often. And I agree, like there is a finite amount of, say, quote unquote tier one opposition that Canada can face. Um, it continues to grow, certainly the number of teams who can qualify as tier one for Canada to play. But nonetheless, to play a team that you've just played and a team that you play so often, I don't want to say, I'm trying not to criticize, but like it just feels like the easiest choice because
Why?
the
It's
US
so
is just there.
you're,
It's,
you're
it's
so
right down to the south.
it's so easy for you to criticize players and performances. Why don't you criticize this kind of
I'm criticizing it.
BS decision?
I'm criticizing it. I said I don't like it. I'm not thrilled. I don't know. I don't know what the rationale behind it is because there wasn't a press conference or anything like that to accompany the announcement. It was just a published announcement. So I don't know why they chose that tournament. I don't know if they tried to attend another tournament. Which certainly could be possible. But I'm like, are you being cheap? Is this easy for you? Like just logistically speaking, unfortunately, like you know me, I'm pessimistic Eve. I'm gonna assume the worst of you if you don't tell me why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. No. I mean, I am happy that the players will get a tournament together to, spend some time together before the World Cup, and hopefully, experiment, maybe give those last few players some extra minutes to see if they are or are not going to make the plane to Australia. So I mean, like, I would rather they play out a tournament than not at all. I will say that. But yeah, this was like my bottom choice of tournaments that they could have played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you know what? At least there's a tournament. So
There
we'll
you
see.
go. Exactly. We'll see. And maybe Bev Priestman's going to do some more interesting experiments because it is familiar opposition. So perhaps, she will be a little more open to trying, different things or calling in different players, but probably not because we're so close to World Cup by that point.
Yeah. I'm
Yep.
not. I'm not. I'm not really. I don't really like optimistic Eve. I don't.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'll try and be me. I'm angry. I'm mad. It sucks. There we go. How's
No,
that
but
for
we'll
you?
see.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to give myself forehead wrinkles. So there we go. Alrighty, with that being said, Hattie, that wraps up all I had to
Yeah.
say, which I believe means it's your turn.
Yeah. There's one question that we forgot
Oh,
to mention.
oh
It's
my
from
gosh,
G
did we
Sharp.
forget a question? Oh, I'm so sorry, G Sharp.
Yeah, it's been it's a while ago, right? So maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's why. And he said, "So is this Gabriel Gervais' first fail? Discuss."
So that
Nancy
was
leaving.
right when that. No, for me, no. Because it it like, oh my God, Hattie, I'm going to quote you. Like, Gabriel Gervais couldn't go above Joey Saputo and tell him not to go yell at someone. Um, you know, he couldn't do that because he's the owner and he gets to do what he wants. So to me, no. For me, like, and it may well have been that Wilfried Nancy was even leaning that way before the infamous match, to depart. Like maybe he did want, like you said, more control, or he wanted different budget, or whatever, different values, the nebulous values that were cited many times. um, we still don't know what those values are, but nonetheless, he wanted them. They didn't align. So maybe his mind was well made up, and there was just going to be no convincing him. But no, for me, this is I don't see it as Gabriel Gervais's fail, honestly, not to retain Rolf Nancy.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. Not that he didn't try. I love his press. I really loved his press conference. I think he handled it very very well. He said things like they are. Yes, okay, there was a mistake from Joey. He
Mm-hmm.
he agreed to that. Uh, he tried to apologize. They tried everything to have Nancy back, and Nancy didn't want to be back. So at one point, you move on. And what can you do? Like, you can't force someone to stay. And
Mm-hmm.
he said it. I think it's a win for him because he said it. I'm not going to leave someone here that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
want to stay here.
Mm-hmm.
He had a contract, so he could have forced him to stay here.
Yeah.
Why? But why would you do that? You know what?
No, it sounds
You want to
terrible.
go? Go. The club will prevail. The club will continue on, and that's it.
Yep. Right on.
And that's it.
Okay. Well, then let's throw it to you for social media.
Social media. So first of all, yeah. So 1 sec.
I'm so sorry. Oh my
Sorry,
God, Hattie,
I'm
I'm so
still
sorry. I
I'm
feel so
still
bad for you.
I'm still a bit sick. So yeah, I have to sometimes mute myself to go
Cough.
cough. So
I'm
it's
so
as
sorry.
simple as that.
I feel bad for you.
And I
Thank
just
you for
realized,
thank you for toughing it out with me this evening.
oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I wanted to come even last time, but I had like 40 degrees fever, and I was like, no way. I
No,
I, I just can't.
no.
I love it, but I can't. So social media, guys. So let's start with the first tweet. It's from Janice Chorianopoulos, journalist in Greece. Canada International Derek Cornelius to Mamo, done deal. Uh, Derek Cornelius is a player that has been playing in Greece. And
Hmm.
for him to go to Sweden, to one of the top clubs in Sweden, if not
I like
the
it.
top club, It's pretty nice because Malmo plays European soccer, and they
That was
play
exactly what I was thinking.
exactly Europa Conference League or Europa League, depending. Sometimes Champions League. So I think it's a good move. What do you think?
I like it overall. For me, I think he could be somebody who could slot into improve Canada's defense. We know he's been kind of on the fringes, but he is still quite young as players go. Um, so this is going to be really valuable experience for him. Obviously, he left the Whitecaps, and I think it was a positive move for him. So for me, I'm all for this. I see no downside to it other than the fact that Sweden is probably really cold this time of year.
Now Malmo is seventh now in the league, but
Hmm.
they're very close of the European places. Very they're close, let's say.
Hmm.
So they're 10 points away from the third place, which is qualification for Europa Conference League, uh, second qualifying round. So there's a way for him to go and get European soccer next year. So that's I think a very good thing for a Canadian team. Um, let's move on. Let's move back to. Yeah, you're right. Chan is right. Uh, yeah, Malmo is back in action only in
Oh, okay.
April. Yeah, he's completely right because in
Because
Sweden
they
they
had to take
don't
a
play.
winter break. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They don't play. It's exactly like MLS, so they don't play during the winter. So,
Hmm.
so yeah. Move on to the second tweet, and it's from Glass City, very known account.
Hmm.
Herdman, the next quadrennial is about really pushing hard to recruit those players that are on the bubble on the dual passports. Daniel Jebison, Odunze, and Smith are the top of my list. Who else should be on that list? Do you have names for me, Eve? Do you are you
Justin Smith is definitely one that I would want Canada to go for sure. I know he's
yeah
on that list. As far as other youth players in the kind of the hemisphere, I'm not sure. I'm curious to see if Luca Kolyosho comes back into the picture.
yeah
Nonetheless, after his few call ups, he didn't really get to play. So I'd be interested to see him come back into the picture as well, especially if he is able to potentially get some pro minutes between now and the next window. But Justin Smith is a player I would really want to try and have Canada go for. Absolutely, I liked him. He was for me one of the few standouts when we did get to see him with the youth team. Um, so yeah, that would be probably my main target. And as well, it's at a position where I don't think Canada has a ton of depth.
yeah because he plays center back or central midfielder, so he can play both.
Exactly. And
So
like
so
a
that's
defensive
pretty
central
interesting.
midfielder. Yeah.
Exactly. Which could be interesting. Now he's loaned to Quevilly in the second division in France,
Hmm.
uh, second or third, I don't remember.
Second.
He's from Nice. He's a good player, so
Yeah.
hopefully he'll continue on developing. And yeah, there's just for people who don't know, Odunze is a goalkeeper. If he's maybe 20, there's another
Hmm.
goalkeeper that's called Owen Goodman with Crystal Palace that plays with Crystal Palace U23 that could be Canadian. Canadian with the Canadian national team. He's 18 only, so that's nice. Two other
Hmm.
goalkeepers, knowing that Borjan is not in the picture anymore. It would be nice to see, someone else
Hmm.
jump, even if I think Maxime Crepeau should be the number one. So we'll see. We'll see. It's going to be fun. Third picture, and I don't know, it worth my heart to watch this. Reunited. Ashley
Uh,
Lawrence and Vanessa Gilles. There was a game between Lyon and PSG women's.
mhm.
PSG won
Yeah,
and took the lead. Uh, but it's nice to see those two faces, meeting
agreed.
in Europe.
Yep.
Uh, Big clash between PSG and Lyon, the two best clubs in the world. Not only in France, but in the world on the women's stage. Uh, Two out of three or four, if you want to. So very interesting. Yeah. Next tweet is from Charles Go Heels. And he's responding to the Project 8 news.
Hmm.
Once they get going, would be awesome to have some crossover games with the NWSL. Not sure if it's possible, but could expand that league and make it international soccer league with 20 teams.
Hmm.
The amount of talent in that group will be awesome. Make both countries' players better. What do you think about that?
I don't know about it going as far as expanding it, but I could see definitely some interest in having having some exhibition matches or even preseason or maybe like a mini preseason tournament with or like interseason whenever you want to have it, like some sort of little tournament kind of as an aside to the league play with NWSL teams. I think it would be interesting and it would provide some different competition than what the teams, the domestic teams would be used to. Because it is only going to be 8 teams, so there is going to be like a finite amount of different competition that you can face. So yeah, I think it would be really interesting to have at least some matches. I'm not going to go though as far as saying to combine the two leagues. I don't want to go that far offhand.
I don't want to see those two leagues joint and being one league. No, I don't want to see that at all either. I want our own league for Canadian players. I think it's very important that we have our own league.
Mhm.
But there's two things that it made me think about two things. First of all, if an American team wants to be an expansion in our league or a Canadian league, why not? Now, for once, we'll be
It'll be by
the
our rules and
deciding
our green
the deciding
cards.
federation. So yeah, so I think I would like that. But I think that's of course just for the joke. But
Mhm.
the second thing that I thought, why not do a cup
Yeah,
between
like a tournament of some kind.
yeah, no, a cup. Like,
Okay, a
let's
cup.
make
Yeah.
it official. A continental cup or whatever. Maybe add the Liga MX team too,
Hmm.
and do some sort of a Champions League if you want to. But for women, I don't think it exists now. So that could be something very interesting. To do some sort of maybe not a Champions League, but maybe sort of FA Cup for people that love
Yeah.
England because yeah, or French Cup for people like me that love Ligue
Right.
1.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
the people that
Or
love
the
Ligue 1.
Copa del Rey for the people who love the
Exact,
Spanish leagues,
exactly.
etc., etc.
But you can do a North American Cup
Hmm.
and just have all those teams, play each other and crown a champion. I think that could be awesome
Yeah.
for the development of the league.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, I like that. So thanks for the tweet. It made us think of a lot of
Hmm.
stuff,
Hmm.
and I think that's interesting. And last tweet is from RS Zimmerman. This is great for the North American games. Gives more opportunities for women in developing CONCACAF countries to play, like Jamaica. It'll build the pool for the whole continent and make competition far better. Well said, Zimmerman. Well
Hmm.
said. I think that's going to be great not only for Canada but also for all the Caribbean countries, other women that want to play in a professional environment will be
Hmm.
welcome here, and I think that's going to be very exciting. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, the primary objective is to help Canadian players develop and remain close to home if they choose to play close to home to play, as we talked about. But I agree, it's going to offer other opportunities, other avenues for players whose teams or whose nations, sorry, haven't yet caught up and also established a league. So yeah, no, completely agree. It is going to open the door for more than just Canadian players.
Yeah, it's nice. We've seen it with the Canadian Premier League. Some Panamanians. You see a lot of players coming from abroad. But yeah,
Hmm.
the team is like every team is composed by 70-75% of Canadian players, and that's
Hmm.
great. But the rest, the 20-25, can be from you know neighbor countries, and I
Well, it
think
can be
that's going
from
to be very
wherever.
interesting.
Yeah.
Exactly, but also from neighbor countries because it's important to develop the confederation too.
No, I agree. That's a good
That's going
point.
to be very nice.
That is a
So
good point.
yeah, so that's it for me for social media. Very interesting tweets, guys.
Mhm.
Thanks for the content.
Right on. Well, I will thank everybody who tuned in. We had a lot of interesting comments to sort through tonight. So thanks to all of you for that. As well, just a quick reminder that although our content will continue to remain free for everyone, we have started a Patreon should you wish to support us in our podcasting endeavors. It's much appreciated. With that being said, though, we have definitely had a really exciting week. We will be back next Sunday. As far as I'm aware, it's going to be at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Thanks to everybody who listened along, who joined in, and who's going to listen throughout the week. Take care. Have a great week. And hopefully we have an exciting World Cup champion to announce next week.
See you guys.